What's going on? How you doing? My name is David the Crook, and today I got a video on how to mix rod wave type vocals. But before we get into the video, I want to remind you to subscribe and drop a like. I have a song here. It is called Love Me by the official Izzy. The song's already out, so I'll link the song down below in the description so you can hear the full song. The song goes hard, so I'm gonna play the hook and part of the verse, and we're just gonna go from there.
We got the wrong sides, how we got the wrong sides. I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong sides from. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods, we ain't had to worry about nothing. But suckers weren't implying, just some youngins chasing money, and things just ain't the same. They just acting like they love me, they been acting like they love me. If you my brother, don't be lying.
That's the hook and a little bit of the verse, so let's get into it. I ended up taking off all the plugins just because we'll be starting from scratch, and one of the first things you want to do when you're mixing rod wave type vocals is just make sure everything is balanced, everything is pretty much leveled when it comes to the vocals, whether it is automating it manually or using a plugin like Waves Vocal Writer, or the plugin that I'm going to be using is WA Production plugin called Outlaw, just because with these rod wave vocals there's a lot of singing, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of passion into the lyrics that you just really want to control it, or you start having to use heavy compression and you're gonna just squish the dynamics of the song, and you kind of don't want that. So I'm gonna be using Outlaw, and it's pretty much the signals grabbing, it's 50%, so it's going to be half of the original dry vocal and then the automated version that Outlaw is going to give it.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong sides from. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to.
Balancing out the vocals there, it's not that much of a difference, but it does make it sound a little better. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is add Voc by Waves, and what this plugin is gonna do is just gonna bring out the life of the vocals, and it's just gonna put it right in your face, right where you want it. Because with these rod wave vocals, you just want the vocals very big, very wide, but very full at the same time.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong sides from. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods, we ain't had to worry about nothing.
And with this SSL channel strip, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be doing some EQ as well as some compression. With the EQ that we're going to be adding onto the vocals, we're going to go for that smooth EQ. So we're going to take out a lot of that low end, probably about like 140, 135, anywhere from there. And then we're going to add a good amount of high end, but we're going to be focusing on just taking out that emotion, taking out that feeling out of the vocals, just so they could be like right in your face, because you just want to feel whatever the person's singing.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong sides from. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy. I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong sides from. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods, we ain't had to worry about nothing. But suckers weren't implying, just some youngins chasing money, and things just ain't the same. They just acting like they love me, they been acting like they love me. If you my brother,
you could see the compression that added. It's not compressing all the vocals, but it is compressing when he sings and when he really goes loud, just because, like I said, there is a lot of dynamics in these vocals, so you just want to be subtle with the compression, but as well get a good amount of compression onto the vocals. That way it doesn't throw the loudness off on the song. I ended up boosting up 16K to take out some air, add some crispiness to the vocal, and then I did a boost at around 5K just to take out some of that feeling out of the vocals, and then I cut around 400 just to take out some of that boxiness. And then the next thing I'm going to add from here is a Pultec EQ, and the Pultec EQ I'm going to be using is the one by Waves, and all I'm going to do is just beef up the vocals by boosting some of that low end and then boosting up some of that high end around 12K.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong sides from. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods.
that's sounding good right there. And if you don't have this, you could use a stock Logic Pro X EQ just in the vintage EQ channel, and then just pull tech, pretty much boost up so this low end, and then just put this at 12 and then boost up some of that. And that's another way of pretty much using this pull tech on vocals. Now the next thing we're going to be using is the VEQ4, and this is a plugin by Waves. And what this is going to do, it's going to add some character, it's going to add some color to the vocals, giving it some of that old school 60s EQ on it. And I'm just going to turn this analog on, and I'm just going to shape the vocal a little bit more by boosting up a little bit more of that high end. And then I'm not really going to cut out those lows just because we kind of want some of it, but at the same time we want to smooth it out, give it this nice like R&B but trap feel to it.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods, we ain't had to worry about nothing. When suckers weren't flying, just some youngins chasing money. And things just ain't the same, they just acting like.
I'm being very subtle with this EQ. I'm just doing a little boost here and there. It's mostly just to take out that color out of the vocals. All I'm going to do next is add a compressor, and the compressor I'm going to be using is this stock Logic Pro X compressor. I always use this compressor pretty much on all my vocals just because it sounds good, and depending on the compressor you use, you could take out this nice color, this nice feel out of the vocals. And if we're going for that studio feel, I'll be using the Studio FET, but if you're going for more of that live, that in your face vocals, I'll recommend using these two. I'll show all three of them, and then from there you just choose the one you want. And I'm just gonna put the auto gain on off, the attack and the release on auto, the ratio at 2:1, and now I'll mess with this threshold. I'm being very subtle with this compression. I'll probably just be doing 3 to 5 dB of compression. I'll put the distortion on soft just because you need to do that.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods, we ain't had to worry about nothing.
This compressor is giving out a nice high end, a little bit too much, but we'll de-ess it later on. And so far I'm liking how it sounds. I think it sounds better than the studio for this song just because it gives it that right in your face compression. And then I'm gonna be using another compressor. This one is by Waves, and it's a CLA. This is like a model after one of those classic famous compressors. I'm not too knowledgeable in all like what exact one it is. I know it's a popular one, but it don't really matter. We just put full reset, turn this knob probably about halfway, analog off, and we're just gonna get like a 2 to 3 dB compression.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods, we ain't had to worry about nothing. When suckers weren't flying, just some youngins chasing money. Man, things just ain't the same, they just acting. I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy, run through them neighborhoods, we ain't had to worry about nothing. When suckers weren't flying, just some youngins chasing money. Man, things just ain't the same, they just.
With this de-esser, I added 2 de-essers. The first one is just a regular de-esser by Waves. Put it on mouse, and then just pretty much taming some of the S's, but not overdoing it, just because with the sibilants, I like sibilants a little bit more because it not only does it take out the S's, but also takes out other frequencies and other sibilances. I think that's the word, that are hurtful to the ear. So if I were to put this on monitor and play it, so for example like that, it takes it, you know, de-esses it just a little bit. That way it smooths out everything as well. And then from here, what I am gonna do is I'm not gonna add any auto tune, just because Rod Wave doesn't really, he does use auto tune, but for this song we're not gonna be adding any auto tune. If you want to add auto tune, add auto-tune. I'm just going to use the S1 imager, and what this is going to do, it's going to spread out the vocals, just making it a little bit wider. And if you don't have the S1 imager and you're just using stock Logic Pro X compressor, you could go to imaging, go to studio, spread, and then if you put this at 0, you could keep this at 100, and then I'll put this thing probably anywhere above 500, and then I'll move this down. I wouldn't go anywhere past 25% if I'm being honest. And it's going to do the exact same thing. It's just going to spread out the vocals. And you don't want to spread it out too much just because you'll lose the body of the vocals. From here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with these bus plugins that I have on, for example, like Little Radiator by Sound Toys. I'm going to bust this plugin, and this is also going to give us some of that color, some of that vintage characteristics onto the vocals, making it wider, making it fuller. So that's really good. If you don't have this, you can use like soft tubes, saturation knob, any distortion or plugin that you have that you could just bust, just adding harmonics onto the vocals, making it fuller.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thug.
I'm gonna add some delay, and the delay I always use is H delay just because this delay gets the job done. I have it on ping pong. I ended up, instead of putting host, I put MS and I put at 788, put the feedback at 54, cut out some of that low analog on off just because you don't want this analog on because it adds like a hiss to the whole song. It just makes it sound ugly. So I don't know why the hell they added it. It's a horrible knob. Just turn it off. And then I ended up adding a sidechain to the delay with the 3:1 ratio, put the threshold at 21, did a very fast compression and then a little slower release. And what this is going to do, it's going to tame the delay to when there's those pauses and those breaks. Where there's pauses, that's when the delay really comes in and fills up the space and just adds like a very nice feeling to the song.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy. Run through them.
So you can really hear it in the background. And then for the reverb I used for this song, I ended up using a Space Designer Stock Logic Pro X big plate. It's under large spaces, plate reverbs, and then it's just big plate. Usually for a raw wave song, you're gonna be wanting to use like a hall, like a church, like a plate, just something wide, something big, so those vocals could just carry on and project forward, just creating like a dope space. So when you're hearing the song, it just like takes you to like a dope space. And I EQ'd the low out of the reverb because I don't want that low end because it'll add like a muddiness to the song. So I just want most of that mid highs and highs that are being added to the reverb. I ended up using the MB2 to take out some more of that space from the reverb. And if you have like this or some distortion, anything that add like harmonics to the reverb, you could use. And I just like using this one just because it's two knobs and it's very easy to control. I'll show you what it does.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thuggy.
So it just takes out more of that space, whatever you choose, whether it's like a room, a plate, a hall, whatever you choose is just gonna bring it out more. So it's a cool trick to do when adding reverb to your vocals. And the second reverb I use is the Reverb Plate 140 by Arteria. This is dope. This is honestly becoming one of my favorite reverbs just because of the color and just the style and the feel that it adds to the vocals. I'm really liking it. I ended up putting a decay time of 5, put the mod on the classic, put the drive 36%. The blend is all the way, the width all the way, and I'm just gonna slowly blend it in. And I did the same thing, cut out some of that low out of the reverb because I don't want it. Took out more of that plate with the MV2, and then I added a sidechain to my reverb just because I want to sidechain the reverb, so when he's rapping the reverb is contained, and then when the more of the singing comes out and there's pauses and there's breaks within the song, I want the reverb to come out a little bit more. I did a fast attack and then a slower release, also put the threshold at 16.5.
I done seen some real homies switching sides on me, switching jerseys like we got the wrong size for 'em. Can't reply to me, tryna feed these lies to me. Lately asking like, would he really slide for me? I remember way back when we was young and thugging.
So that's how you mix rod wave vocals. Is you just want that nice smooth vocal with like a good delay, a good reverb, something wide, something spacious, a nice high end onto the vocals. Now the link to the song will be down below in the description so you can check out the full song. Now if you want your song mixed and mastered by me, feel free to hit me up on my Instagram or on my website. Everything will be down below in the description, and I want to remind you to subscribe and drop a like, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.